Why do your mornings feel like a race you never signed up for? You wake up already behind. You reach for your phone, and before your feet even touch the floor, the world is pulling you in. Notifications, distractions, obligations. And just like that, your day starts without you, and you're already reacting instead of leading. Now ask yourself honestly, when was the last time you woke up and felt in control? Not rushed, not anxious, not halfway lost, but clear, aligned, focused. You may not even remember. That's because most people are trapped in a loop. Wake up, react, rush, repeat. No matter how much they want change, their mornings quietly sabotage them before they even begin. And here's the hard truth no one tells you. You don't need more time. You need more ownership. Because the first hour of your day isn't just about what you do. It's about who you become while doing it. Let's get clear on something. If the first moments of your morning are chaotic, anxious, or passive, your mind is being conditioned to live the rest of the day on autopilot. You're not late because the clock betrayed you. You're late because you handed over your attention before you even chose your direction. You're tired not because of what you've done, but because of what you've ignored yourself. But what if you changed it? That's exactly what this video is about. Over the next few minutes, you'll learn 7 specific steps to take, one each morning, to completely reset how you start your day, and with it, your identity. These are not routines. They're reset buttons. Each one is designed to rewire your mind, reclaim your energy, and rebuild your self-leadership from the inside out. And here's the only rule. You do them. You don't negotiate with them. 1 step per day, 1 hour each morning. Not perfectly, just consistently. Because results don't come from trying. They come from doing what matters before the world interrupts. By the end of these 7 mornings, you won't just feel different. You'll see it in your posture, your tone, your clarity, your decisions. The person you've been waiting to become? You'll realize you've been building them, 1 silent hour at a time. But don't just watch this video and forget. This is an inspiration. This is an invitation. So here's what I want you to do right now. Drop a comment below and write. Day 1 starts now. Not because you're ready, but because you're done waiting. We're about to begin. And by the time you reach day 7, you'll understand why we started here. Not rushed, but deliberate. Let's take your mornings back, and with them, the rest of your life. Day 1 isn't about waking up earlier. Waking up deliberately. There's a big difference between your body getting out of bed and your mind stepping into the day with clarity. Most people confuse the two. They open their eyes, and their first thought is, what do I have to do? And just like that, the day leads them, instead of the other way around. But this morning is different. Because today, you're not reacting. You're reclaiming control. Here's your first step. Before your feet touch the floor, decide the tone of your day. 1 thought, 1 sentence, 1 clear direction. Not, let's see how today goes. But, I lead today. I am grounded. I move with purpose. Today, I respond, not react. Say it before the phone, before the light, before anything else. Why? Because the moment you wake up, your brain is empty and impressionable like a canvas. Whatever enters first sets the tone for everything else. Most people don't choose that. They scroll. They compare. They absorb other people's chaos. And they don't even realize they've already surrendered the first hour of their life to someone else's noise. Now multiply that by 365 days. That's how identity is lost, silently and gradually. But today is day 1, and your identity is no longer up for grabs. You don't need perfection. You don't need motivation. You need a single decision owned by you. All, yes, but it's powerful because the brain doesn't need volume. It needs clarity and consistency. And this sentence, this declaration, becomes your new foundation. This is my morning. This is my life. And I'm leading it today. That's not a mantra. That's self-leadership in action. This is what Stephen Covey meant when he spoke about being proactive. Not just setting goals, but becoming the kind of person who wakes up already committed. Not to tasks, but to purpose. And maybe that's something you haven't done in a long time. You've been tired, distracted, spinning in routine. But here's the truth. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to decide. So here's your challenge for today. Before your feet hit the floor tomorrow, pause for 5 seconds. No phone, no rush, no guilt, just a quiet moment to lead. Choose your sentence. Say it. Mean it. Because that's the first brick in the new foundation you're building. Today is your day one. You don't need to wait for Monday. You need a decision. And that decision starts before the world interrupts. For the next 7 mornings, begin your day with this habit. Speak your direction. Then, on the 8th day, look back. You won't be the same. This is how it begins, not with intensity, but with intention. And if this speaks to you, write it below. I decide before I move. Not as a comment, as a commitment. Because that sentence is yours now. And tomorrow, we go deeper. You've made the first decision. You woke up with intention. You claimed your space before the world could take it. Now it's time to move literally. Because day 2 is about what you do right after you decide. And no, it's not checking notifications. It's not replying to messages. It's movement. Here's your step for today. Move your body before you touch your phone. It can be 5 minutes. It can be one stretch, one walk, one slow breath with a posture reset. The point isn't to burn calories. The point is control. Because motion is a language your nervous system understands instantly. When you move, you're telling your body, I'm here. I'm awake. I'm choosing this. You don't need a workout plan. You need a movement ritual, short, simple, and symbolic. For example, stand tall, arms up, deep breath 3 times. Walk across your home slowly, with awareness. Stretch your back, your neck, your hands. Hold a plank for 30 seconds while breathing deeply. You do this not because of fitness. You do it because identity requires embodiment. If you declare clarity but your body stays in bed, hunched, inactive, your brain doesn't fully believe you. Because posture speaks louder than intentions. And here's what people forget. Your phone puts you in the world's agenda, but your body brings you back to yours. Most people wake up and reach for their phone within 30 seconds. They scroll, compare, react. Their heart rate rises. Their attention splinters. And the worst part? They don't even realize it's happening. So today, you interrupt that loop with motion. Think of it as your first physical yes to the identity you're building. Let me make it practical. Here's your exact protocol for day 2. Wake up. Say your sentence. You've already done that on day 1. Sit up. Keep your phone out of reach. Move your body for 2 to 5 minutes. Nothing fancy, just intentional. While moving, breathe. Don't rush. Stay aware. This is what rewires your morning sequence. This is what tells your brain, I don't need external input. I generate my own state. Even if it feels silly at first. Even if it's just standing with intention. Do it anyway. Because you're training yourself to lead. And leading your day starts with moving yourself before letting anything else move you. Let me ask you something. If the first thing your body experiences in the morning is tension from news, comparison, messages, and updates, how do you expect your energy to stay centered? You can't live in peace when you wake up in chaos. But if you move, just for a moment, before the world enters your system, your entire internal rhythm shifts. You become anchored, present, powerful. That's not hype. That's biology. Because movement activates systems in your brain responsible for motivation, decision-making, and attention. Even a short stretch sends the signal. This is a conscious day. I'm not in survival mode. So today, before your phone, your messages, or your plans, you move. You tell your body, we're not rushing into noise. We're aligning with clarity. And that's how discipline becomes physical, not just mental. Do this every morning for the next 6 days. Doesn't matter if it's perfect. It matters that it's deliberate. You don't wait to feel ready. You move to feel ready. And here's your second anchor. Start the next 7 mornings with this habit. Move first. Breathe first. Then decide what comes next. By day 8, your energy won't feel like a mess. It'll feel like a weapon. This is how we rewire mornings. Not by controlling everything, but by mastering the first decision and the first motion. So if you're in this, fully in now, Drop a comment and write, "I move before the world does." Not for anyone else, just to declare that you've entered day 2 with your eyes open and your body aligned. Tomorrow, we take it one step further, from movement to mental clarity. You've woken up with intention. You've moved with purpose. Now it's time to take the most important leadership step of all, not with your body, but with your mind. Because day 3 is where most people undo all the progress they made in the without even noticing. They do the right things. They wake up early. They stretch. They sip water and open their calendar. Back into the same trap. Tasks, to-dos, noise, lists. They start managing their day before understanding their mind. They start solving problems before recognizing if they're the right ones to solve. So here's your next step, right before you plan. Not a productivity hack, not a journaling routine, just one page, one pen, and one rule. Clear what's inside before organizing what's outside. Because if you skip this, here's what happens. You start chasing priorities that aren't actually yours. You start solving problems based on yesterday's stress. You begin your day from the past, not the present. Writing first, even for 5 minutes, gives you something planning never will. Insight. It shows you where your focus is leaking. It reveals the thoughts you haven't named, but that are still leading you. And it creates a pause long enough for your deeper intelligence to surface. So what do you write? Anything. What you're feeling. What you're avoiding. What you want to remember. What you want to stop carrying. There are no rules. Accept this. Don't filter it. Don't polish it. Don't structure it. Let it flow, because this is not about clarity on the page. It's about clarity in your mind. Here's a simple prompt to get started each morning. What's the one thing that's quietly weighing on me today? Write it. Own it. Release it. Then, if you want, finish with this. What do I want this day to represent? Because that question does something powerful. It lifts you above the grind of checking boxes and reminds you that you're not just here to do things. You're here to be someone. And that identity gets formed in this exact moment, the pause before the planning. Let's be clear. This is not about morning journaling for the sake of it. This is about mental ownership. Most people are mentally sloppy in the morning. They carry mental residue from the day before. They react to emails before they've processed how they even feel. They jump into tasks without filtering whether those tasks matter. But not you. Not anymore. You're building a system, and this step is your internal alignment check. Think of it this way. Day 1 equals direction. Day 2 equals movement. Day 3 equals clarity. This is the trio that rewires your mornings. And the only way it works is if you stop skipping the pause. So here's your exact process. Wake up with your sentence, day 1. Move your body, day 2. Sit down with a pen and empty one page of thought. Then, and only then, start planning your day. What you'll notice after just 3 days is this. You feel less rushed, even if nothing changed externally. You feel lighter, because mental clutter is no longer stuck. And you begin to plan not as a reactive manager, but as a proactive creator. That's the shift. Right before you plan, or you'll just repeat your past. Because if you don't see your thoughts, you end up living them by default. But when you name them, you reclaim choice. And from that space, everything changes. So here's your anchor for today. Start the next 7 mornings with this habit. Write to release. Then decide what to build. By day 8, your mind won't feel like a battlefield. It'll feel like home. And if you're showing up for yourself, again, drop a comment below and write, "I clear my mind before I lead my day." Because clarity isn't something you find. It's something you create on purpose. Tomorrow, we move from mental clarity to value creation. And that's where things get even more powerful. By day 4, you're not just waking up earlier. You're waking up better. You've stopped reacting. You've moved your body. You've cleared your mind. Now it's time to shift the energy from clarity to creation. Because here's what separates the people who grow from the people who stay stuck. What they do in the first hour, before anyone else knows they're awake. Most people consume first. They listen, watch, check, scroll. They absorb the world before they've contributed anything to it. And that's exactly why their self-worth, creativity, and confidence feel small. Because you cannot feel powerful when you start every day in consumption mode. So here's your day 4 step. Create value before you consume anything. Value can be anything, but it must come from you. It must be an act of building, of expressing, of shaping something into existence. Let me be clear. This is not about writing a book or starting a business at 6 a.m. This is about doing one small thing that affirms your identity as a creator, not just a consumer. Here are examples of value creation in your first hour. Write 1 paragraph of an idea or insight. Record a voice note with a reflection or lesson. Draft a message that uplifts someone else. Sketch a concept, mind map, or plan. Build 1 line of code, 1 slide, 1 sentence. Say something kind to your partner or child, intentionally. Why does this matter so much? Because value creation triggers something deeper than productivity. It activates self-respect. You see yourself contributing, moving, choosing, and that evidence compounds. Even the smallest act of creation says, I'm not here just to absorb life. I'm here to shape it. And when that happens every day, you stop looking for validation. You stop asking for permission. You stop waiting for inspiration. You become self-generating. That's how you break the cycle of inconsistency and doubt. Not with motivation, but with evidence. The first hour of your day becomes your daily proof that you're a person of value. Not because you're busy, but because you build. And let's be real. This isn't about the result of what you create. It's about the identity you reinforce through the act of doing it. You're not writing for an audience. You're not building for feedback. You're simply training yourself to show up for your future, even when no one's watching. And that's where momentum is born. Because most people spend years consuming other people's greatness and never realize they're starving for their own. Let's flip that. Here's your protocol for day 4. Wake up with intention, step 1. Move your body, step 2. Clear your mind on paper, step 3. Create something small before you consume anything. Doesn't matter if it takes 2 minutes or 20. What matters is that you produce before you absorb. Because consumption without creation turns your brain passive. But creation, even at a micro level, activates your mind to lead. That's the difference between drifting and directing. And yes, this will feel awkward at first. You might think, this isn't good, or it's not useful, but it is. Because you're not building results. You're building the identity of someone who creates before the world speaks. And that person becomes irreplaceable. Here's your anchor for today. Start the next 7 mornings with this habit. Before the world tells you who to be, remind it who you are. Create first, then engage. By day 8, you won't just feel productive. You'll feel powerful. With me, still here, still building. Comment below, I create before I consume. This is no longer a morning routine. And the structure is getting stronger. Tomorrow, we move to a new level of power, eliminating the noise that keeps you stuck. Because all the clarity and creation in the world mean nothing if you keep letting distractions take the wheel. You've started your mornings with intention. You've moved your body, cleared your mind, created value. But now comes the part most people avoid, elimination. Because the truth is this. You can't build anything real if you're surrounded by noise. You can't grow if you're constantly interrupted. You can't step into clarity when you're still tolerating chaos. That's what today is about. Day 5 is not about adding more. It's about removing what drains you. And let's be clear, this doesn't require a digital detox or a week in the mountains. It starts with one intentional cut. One choice to eliminate something that keeps hijacking your attention, energy, or identity. So here's your step for today. Eliminate one consistent source of noise from your first hour. It might be social media, news updates, group chats, random YouTube rabbit holes, podcasts you don't finish, emails that don't matter, cluttered environments, loud opinions, distractions disguised as research. You know what it is. That thing you check just for a second. And 30 minutes later, you've lost all momentum. that thing you listen to in the background. But it secretly fills your head with pressure, comparison, or distraction. You don't need to eliminate everything. You just need to make one clean decision. This doesn't belong in my morning anymore. Why? Because focus is not just what you look at. It's also what you protect yourself from. You spent the last 4 mornings building discipline, clarity, direction, and value. But if you let one consistent leak back in, all of that becomes unstable. Let's make this real. Imagine your morning as a house you're building. You've laid the foundation. You've framed the walls. You've started wiring the system. But now, there's a crack in the wall and rain's coming in. You can keep building around it. Or you can stop, seal it, and protect what you've created. That's what this step is. And here's why it's powerful. It's not about discipline for the sake of restriction. It's about respecting the space you've worked to reclaim. Because you can't rise above the noise. If you keep letting the noise sit at your table, let's make this actionable. Your Day 5 protocol. Look at your first hour honestly. Where is your energy going that doesn't serve your identity? Choose one thing to eliminate. Just one. Not forever. Just for the next 3 days. Create a barrier. Not a rule, a barrier. Move your phone to another room. Delete the app for a week. Turn on type of notification. Put headphones in with silence. No content. This is not about deprivation. It's about freedom through intentional limitation. Because attention is your most valuable currency. And you've been giving it away like it costs nothing. But now you know better. Here's what happens when you follow this step. Your nervous system begins to relax. Your thinking gets sharper. You stop feeling behind because you're not reacting to everything. And you start respecting your own boundaries without even realizing it. This step doesn't feel flashy. You won't get a dopamine spike, but what you will get is power back. And over time, that's what creates real change. Not more effort, but less interference. Here's your anchor for today. Start the next 7 mornings with this habit. Clear the noise. Guard the gate. Protect what matters before the world gets a chance to challenge it. By day 8, your focus won't feel fierce. This isn't about avoiding life. It's about mastering your space, so you can finally lead your life, instead of reacting to it. So if this lands with you, if you're ready to subtract so that what matters can multiply, comment below, I protect what I've built. Because it isn't about doing more. It's about refusing to undo what you've already started. And tomorrow, we take that space you've cleared and fill it with purpose. Because you're not just protecting peace. You're creating direction. Now that you've protected your space, you finally have room for something most people never experience in the morning. Meaning, not pressure, not performance, not checking boxes, but inner alignment. The kind of clarity that makes your actions feel like they matter. Because let's be honest, most people don't lack energy. They lack direction. They're not tired from doing too much. They're tired from doing many meaningless things. And that's why day 6 is so important. Here's your step. Define one thing that gives your day meaning before anything else tries to decide it. Not a list, not 10 goals, not a vision board. Just one thing, one priority, one action, one reminder that it wasn't just a repetition of yesterday. It's a brick in something bigger. Because here's the truth. If you don't define what matters most, your brain will default to what's urgent. And what's urgent is rarely what moves your life forward. That's why most people live reactive lives. They're busy, but they're not building it. They're exhausted, but disconnected from purpose. They're moving, but not growing. But you're on day 6. And that means you're no longer just starting your mornings with discipline. You're starting them with intention plus direction. Here's how to do it. Every morning, after your mind is clear and the noise is blocked, ask yourself one question. If I only accomplished one thing today and felt proud of it, what would it be? Sit with that. Write it down. Circle it. Then orient your day around it. That one thing might be having a hard conversation you've been avoiding, finishing a task that matters deeply to your future, practicing a new habit without breaking the chain, showing up fully present with someone you love, making progress on a project that reflects your next level. It doesn't need to be impressive. It just needs to be meaningful. And here's the magic of this step. Once you choose your one thing, you suddenly stop needing motivation, because now your mind is aimed. You're not drifting anymore. You're leading. And everything else, the distractions, the doubts, the detours, lose power. Think of this like the compass in your morning system. Day 1, you claimed direction. Day 2, you activated movement. Day 3, you created mental space. Day 4, you built value. Day 5, you protected that value. Day 6, you give it meaning. Now, you're no longer just managing your mornings. You're giving them a purpose that echoes through the rest of your day. And it works, especially on hard days. Because when life gets loud and your schedule feels out of control, this one decision grounds you. It reminds you why you're doing what you're doing, and that alone can keep you from giving up on yourself. Here's your protocol for day 6. After your clarity writing, step 3, ask yourself, what's the one thing that will give this day meaning? Write it down clearly. Don't be vague. Make it something you can complete. Return to it during the day, before lunch, after a meeting, during a low moment. Remind yourself, this is my priority. This is my anchor. You'll be amazed how much lighter the rest of the day feels, because you're not carrying everything. You're carrying what matters, and that's enough. Here's your anchor for today. Start the next 7 mornings with this habit. Define one thing, align with it, and move like it's the most important thing in the world. By day 8, your actions won't feel random, they'll feel rooted. Because that's what leadership is. Not controlling everything, but choosing what matters and staying loyal to it. So if you're here, committed, focused, building something real inside you, drop a comment below. I lead my day with purpose, not as a slogan, as a practice, as a promise. Tomorrow, we complete the 7-day reset. And in that final step, we close the loop. From identity to discipline to embodiment. Because day 7 is not the end. It's where the real integration begins. You've made it to day 7. 7 mornings. 7 decisions. 7 moments where you showed up, not for results, not for approval, but for yourself. And now, it's time to prove to yourself that this is no longer just a challenge. It's a new identity in motion. Because this final step isn't about doing more. It's about doing it deeper, quieter, stronger. Today's step is simple, but powerful. Repeat the full morning system, but do it in silence. No music, no voices, no podcasts, no background noise. Just you and the space you've created. Because silence is where you meet the real version of you. Not the one the world sees. Not the one that reacts, but the one that leads when no one's watching. And this final morning is about creating a space for that version of you to take the lead without distraction. Let's walk through what a day looks like. Wake up with your sentence. Day 1. Not out loud this time, but internally with full awareness. Feel the weight of the decision, not just the words. Move your body. Day 2. No music, just movement with breath. Every step, every stretch is a form of presence. Clear your mind on paper. Day 3. 1 page, raw and honest. No edits. Let the thoughts come, then let them go. Create something. Day 4. 1 act of value. A thought, a line, a message. Not for the world, for yourself. Honor your boundary. Day 5. No noise, no screen, no compromise. Today, the silence is the shield. Choose what matters. Day 6. 1 thing. 1 purpose. Write it clearly, then hold it like a compass. And now, do it all in silence. Let that silence become your proof that you no longer need pressure to act, that you no longer need noise to feel alive, that your morning belongs to you. Why silence? Because silence removes the crutch. And when you remove the crutch, you realize you can stand without it. You're not performing anymore. You're not chasing energy. You're not being pulled in 100 directions. You're choosing. In this moment, this quiet repetition is your proof that this entire week wasn't a performance. It was a shift, one that started with a sentence and is ending with embodiment. Because real transformation isn't loud. It's subtle. It happens quietly. In the way you breathe. In the way you sit. In the way you carry yourself at 6 a.m. with no audience, just awareness. This is how you know something changed. Not because you feel motivated, but because you're no longer at war with your own mornings. You've built something sacred, simple, strong, yours. So today, move through it all in silence. Let that silence reflect back your growth. Let it remind you, I don't need to be pushed. I've chosen to lead. And if you've come this far, if you've followed all 7 steps, you've built more than a morning routine. You've built a system of identity reinforcement, one that doesn't depend on mood, one that doesn't collapse when life gets busy. Because it's not about perfect mornings. It's about non-negotiable ownership of your mind, your energy, your direction. And here's your anchor for this final step. Repeat this system in silence to prove that you've embodied it. When no one's pushing, when no one's, you still show up. That's the difference between hype and discipline, between trying and becoming. You don't need applause. You don't need reminders. Because the quiet repetition of this system is your reminder. You've arrived. And now, as you finish day 7, take a moment. Look back, not just at what you did, but at who you became in the process. And if you feel it, if this experience became real for you, comment below. I've reset my identity. Because that's what you've done. You didn't change your schedule. You changed your self-respect. You didn't chase motivation. You built momentum. And now, the 8th day is yours. To continue. To deepen. To evolve. Because this isn't the end. It's the beginning of who you are when you stop waiting for change and start becoming it. And before we close, if these 7 mornings meant something to you, if you felt a shift, even a quiet one, then don't stop here. This wasn't just a challenge. It was your return to clarity, to intention, to self-respect. But now comes the deeper work. Not resetting, but maintaining. Not just starting strong, but building consistency when motivation fades. Because what you do next will define everything. So when you're ready, take the next step with us. Not louder, not faster, but deeper, more aligned, more focused, more deliberate. The next video is waiting, and it's designed to help you keep this momentum alive and turn these 7 mornings into a foundation for your entire life. So don't break the rhythm. Watch the next one. Continue the work. This time, for good.